Hello and welcome back to the channel. This one we're talking about the good, the bad and the ugly parts of trading. So let's get into it. So before we jump into it completely, obviously trading is inherently risky. Most traders do lose a lot of money. They say 98% or something like that, but I think those numbers are a little bit skewed, judging by the amount of people that start and quit really early. That, it goes towards a statistic at the end of the day. But it's not to say it can't be rewarding. And obviously we've touched on some points in this video with the good, the bad, the ugly. And obviously the rewards can be unlimited as well. So it's quite good trading if you can really master it, if you have the discipline and the patience to kind of keep going forward, and obviously confidence is a big part of that as well. Before we jump into the good part of the video, obviously make sure you subscribe to the channel. I do a host of kind of trading videos, so kind of evergreen videos as well, so you can go back to them. Don't really do kind of live updates anymore, just because it's not the kind of strategy I wanted to go for. I'm looking for evergreen content, so you can jump onto my channel and learn trading straight off the bat. So let's jump into the good parts of trading. Obviously the first point I want to touch on is basically the amount of money you can make. It's unlimited really, essentially. If the stock kind of goes up and up and up, you can make unlimited amounts of money. Of course that's not the case, because not every stock just goes straight up. You get the odd one that has a good run, but of course that is normally followed by a quick descent afterwards. And ultimately with this kind of earnings, of course you can have ultimate wealth creation for the long term. Of course it's a lot easier said than done, but yeah, the high earnings are a very big part of trading. The next point is flexibility. You can trade wherever, whenever, at any point of the day. So for example, you can trade 23 hours of the day, the Dow Jones, the S&P 500 and obviously the Nasdaq as well. And then going on to the kind of wherever part, you can actually do any part of the world. Obviously if you have internet access, you can use VPNs these days, so you can kind of mix your location, etc. So you can kind of always trade wherever you are, which is probably one of the things you've seen on YouTube already, people trading from like the Philippines or obviously kind of Prague, etc. Even US, if you're English for example, you can trade anywhere, on holiday, wherever you want. So flexibility is obviously a massive part of trading. So the last point I wanted to make on the good part of trading is opportunity to kind of learn and develop your skills more. Trading is a constant learning game, not only for obviously physically looking at kind of patterns and kind of setups, etc., but also mentally as well. You learn a lot about yourself and you only keep getting better and better. The last kind of 3 or 4 years for me, I've learned so much about myself. It's absolutely incredible. And obviously if you're embarking on this trading journey, or if you're already on this trading journey, I'm sure you're learning a lot about yourself as well. Put down in the comments actually what you've learned about yourself whilst you've been trading. So let's move on to the bad parts of trading. Of course there's a few bad parts, and the first one I want to touch on is obviously losing money, especially for inexperienced traders. If you start straight off the bat, maybe with a kind of a £5,000–10,000 budget for example, you're more than likely going to lose a lot of that just through inexperience and just through not looking at the charts with that kind of experienced head, shall we say. The way to get around this is of course kind of starting small. That's how I did it. Kind of start with $100, kind of $500. And you kind of start out small, kind of get used to the platforms and the charts, etc., and how the stocks kind of move, and also the indices as well. So the risk of losing money is obviously going to be the first point of the bad section of this video. The next one is going to be emotional stress. Now of course it depends kind of how much you trade and how much you're trading with, but I would advise maybe reducing that emotional stress by obviously starting small, like I said. But of course, if you're kind of more experienced trader like myself, having those kind of lower amounts where you're trading, it kind of reduces that stress. It makes you sleep better at night. And of course, none of us want emotional stress. We have enough of that with life itself, kind of things happening to us day by day, week by week, month by month, of course. The last thing we want is more emotional stress, or just more stress in general. So if you find yourself getting emotionally stressed or kind of stressed in general, just take a step back, maybe take a week off, reevaluate what you're doing, have a look at some past trades, maybe kind of try and improve your trading just by looking at the trades you've made. I think it's a big part of that. Backtesting your strategy, etc. It's all part of the trading scheme, and obviously of course it takes time, but if you can reduce that emotional stress, then that's probably 90% of trading is kind of the emotional side of things. And the last point I wanted to make about the bad side of trading is it takes time, and it takes continuous learning, and of course it takes discipline as well. So all of these things, they do take time, and you'll only get that with experience. I mentioned it earlier on in the video with the good side of things as well, but yeah, I mean, time is always going to be an element in anything that you're learning, but of course it is a bad side because it takes time to kind of learn trading. But obviously over those kind of weeks, those months, those years, you will be a better trader. And if you're not, then you're obviously doing something wrong and you need to try and change your strategy to try and make that work. Now moving on to the ugly parts of trading, this is when it gets really nasty. So the first point I wanted to make on the kind of ugly side of trading is the scams that you can get yourself into. All of these Lamborghinis and kind of luxurious holidays you can get week by week, it's not really that realistic. Of course, if you make one good trade or a couple of good trades in a row, you can try and get that kind of momentum going. putting on that lifestyle, but it's just not sustainable. You know, these people are putting on so much money onto each trade and obviously just getting lucky essentially. So watch out for those scams as well. They're selling you your courses. I'm not saying that there's not good courses out there. Of course, there's great courses out there. But of course, just watch yourself when you're applying yourself to these courses. Is this the right person? Does this person have the right mentality? Does it have a strategy that aligns with your kind of thoughts and processes? So yeah, just be careful when you're out there. Just touching on that point as well, misinformation that's been delivered as well, especially kind of on X. You get a lot of kind of tweets and kind of opinions, etc., that just don't really align with real world kind of happenings, should we say. I'm not saying, of course, go and follow me because I'm completely honest, which I am, of course. I'm an honest person, that's how I do it. But yeah, just be careful of who you're following. Make sure you backtest kind of their tweets, etc., whether they're actually genuine on the things they're saying as well. So just be careful when you're out there. Another ugly truth about trading is it can be very addicting. It can be linked to kind of the gambling side of our thoughts in our brains. Obviously you can keep putting too much trades on. That's when the over trading gets in place, and obviously that's when the stress and the FOMO comes in. So they're the really ugly parts of trading. You don't want to get into that stage. You want to keep it controlled, you want to keep it disciplined, and you want to be confident when you trade as well. And of course, this kind of gambling side of things can actually lead to kind of financial ruin, have yourself in large amounts of debt, and that's really not a place you want to be in. So just be careful that you don't set yourself along that path, and you just take a controlled, measured approach, as I mentioned before. And the last point I wanted to make on the ugly side of trading is the impact of external events. So you're looking at these kind of CPI reports, Donald Trump talking, or just kind of global crisis, kind of, you know, for example, COVID back in 2020. If you're in day trading positions or swing trading positions, that's really going to hurt you. So make sure you have the kind of risk management in place and kind of have that discipline throughout kind of trading as well, just to kind of manage the worst case scenario of each possible trade. So there's nothing worse than obviously having a CPI come out and obviously the stock market plunges, you know, down 2%, but you're in a day trade and you want it to go up like 1% and your account is basically gone. You don't want that. You want to be able to keep trading and keep pushing forward and become the better trader that you want to be. So in conclusion then, trading is obviously a very mixed bag of emotions essentially. You can have your highs and you can have your lows, have your good days, your bad days, your good weeks and your bad months essentially. It can be very, very volatile of course, and you just want to try and keep yourself in that steady path of kind of learning and growing, and obviously placing those trades that you see fit to your execution and your trading plan as well. So with this video, I hope you actually learned something. If you did, drop a comment down below. I'd really appreciate to hear your thoughts, and maybe you can add something as well. And with that, obviously there's a video on the screen now, so you can click on that and continue your trading journey. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.